Who needs a low-noise floor these days anyway? It is so overrated. Welcome to QRM. Who needs...
Hello and welcome, everybody, to episode 5 of the QRM podcast. I'm Andy, N0APX, product manager for World Radio League.
And I'm Professor Jim, and for BFR, the lead instructor at Ham Radio Prep.
That's right. Welcome, everybody who's joining us live. We appreciate you coming in here. This is episode 5, all about Field Day 2025. So we know a lot of y'all are getting ready for Field Day. We appreciate you taking time out of your Field Day morning to join us here. Got a lot of you jumping in here. Throw us some questions in the chat. We want to do a Q&A, so just start dumping your questions in the chat here, and we'll work down through them as we go. We're also going to go through some rules of Field Day, how Field Day works, how to submit your logs, all that good stuff, and how World Radio League is the best logger for Field Day. So stay tuned. We're going to cover all that here very shortly. And give us just a moment to make sure we get our music turned off here. And
it's great because usually when we do the podcast, we pre-record and I don't get to hear the music. So it's nice to be live today on a Saturday morning.
That's right.
Hey, there's Polar Power in the chat. We love them.
All right. Great, Vaughn and Julie. Great to see you guys. We'll do a quick rundown of these comments here in just a sec. But as Jim mentioned, it's a beautiful Saturday morning. 8:32 here in the Central Coast.
Central Coast.
I'm located right in the middle of the United States, so I can't say East Coast or West Coast. So I guess we'll go with Central. But
great.
Yeah, I am located here in Missouri. It's beautiful. Where are you coming to us from?
I am coming to everyone from my ham shack just outside of Atlanta. If you're a Metro Atlanta person, you know there's inside the perimeter and outside the perimeter. I am just ITP. So, but I'm ready to talk Field Day and then do Field Day. I'm excited. I think for Field Day this year, I'm just going to spend some time in my shack and make a bunch of contacts and really enjoy it from that perspective. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right. And I was considering what to do, what I was going to do for Field Day. And I wasn't sure anything was going to work out, but I'll probably either be in my shack or in a Poda Park, or even maybe run to the local club and see if they've got a setup this year. So
I may run to the local club too. They're about 3 or 4 miles from me.
Nice. So you guys can see our streaming software here has given us this nice new feature where we can drop the comments here on screen, but we're also going to be going through and showing some of these so you in bigger font so y'all can read them. First comment from Brad. Good on you, Brad. Brad is he's been working hard making sure Field Day comes together this year, and between him and Serafel, one of our developers, they really nailed it. So
yes, they did.
Yeah, they've really turned a fantastic feature set out for World Radio League Field Day. So good to see you, Brad. Ham Radio guy Marvin, great to see you. Good morning.
Hey, Marvin,
going well for you. We've got Alpha Tango saying Happy Field Day.
Happy Field Day, 73 Alpha Tango.
He also says Jim's got the moves.
Dancing to the music.
All right, we've got Woods and Bikes. Good morning and happy Field Day from District MDC. Sierra District MDC. That's
Maryland and the District of Columbia.
Okay. Nice.
That's 3 land.
All right, sounds good. We've got Poda Power in the chat. Vaughn and Julie, hey. Good morning.
It's nice to turn the tables. Usually I'm in their chat. So
yeah, there you go.
Say, hey, and I don't know, Julie would say something like yay Texas or something. So I'll just say yay Texas, even though I don't know why.
All right. Joe Birdwell, WB9VVH. Great to see you, Joe.
Morning, Joe.
Georgians Unite, says Alpha Tango. Woods and Bikes, Missouri is a show me state. It indeed is. Yes, it is indeed the show me state. And if you don't know why it's called that, look it up. It's an interesting story. Walt Costa, good morning from New Hampshire.
Hello, New Hampshire.
Our good friend Pepe, HB9 EVT from southern Germany. He lives in Switzerland, but he's at the Friedrichshafen, if I'm pronouncing that right, the big ham radio event in Germany today. So great to see you, Pepe.
Hi, Pepe.
God. Woods and Bikes asking if the band conditions are sketchy today. Let me pull up our band conditions widget here, and we'll take a quick look.
I saw that question come through and I just popped it up. It looks like we're going to be great for 20, 40, 80, 40 and 80 later tonight, 20 during the day, and maybe 15, 17, but 10 and 12 meters may be poor.
Yeah.
Now, I had the radio on for a little bit yesterday just to see, if people were setting up, that kind of thing. Heard some stuff on 10 meters.
Okay. Nice.
But nothing on 15. So if yesterday's like today, if today's like yesterday, maybe a bit of 10 and 15 through.
Looks a little off in the A index, a little off, but
yeah.
But we're it looks like it's workable. Looks like it's workable, especially if you've got about every ham in the U.S. and many around the world operating. You'll probably make some contacts.
The amount of RF warming the air today should help band conditions. I'm going with
that. Clark Dean, good morning from Gulf of America. Great to see you. KQ4PLX. Boxcar from New York. I don't even know how to pronounce that city. I'm sorry. November
Poughkeepsie.
2.
That's Poughkeepsie. I grew up not far from there. Just across the border in Connecticut.
So, all right, sounds good.
Poughkeepsie.
November 2, Victor, Juliet X-Ray. So great to see you, Steve Hughes. Hi, all from North Carolina. 7-3. Good friend Jose. KD4RBB, great to see you. Poda Power says, thank you guys for working so hard to get the World Radio League logging amazing. Thank you guys for helping us make the World Radio League logger amazing. You guys are great, a great support, and we really appreciate you all, everything you do. So thank you guys.
And I will admit, from the World Radio League side, I'm a user, and sometimes I get to beta test, but I do see all the discussion about all the features that's going on and all the bug fixes and those kind of things. And these guys are, the hardest working people in show business. They really keep on top of them and take a lot of pride in getting it just right. So it's great to work with them.
Absolutely. Woods and Bikes has a good question here. I thought 12 and 17 were excluded for field day. Are work bands excluded for field day, Jim?
I am going to double check that, but I think he is correct.
Okay. While you're double checking that, guys, we're gonna take a pause from the comments right quick, and we're going to bring in a special guest. Give us just a second.
Oh, yay.
Our special guest, give us a thumbs up if you're ready.
There he is.
James, N0WRL, coming to us straight from Germany. How you doing, James?
I am doing great. How's my audio and how's my connection here, guys?
You sound good. You look good. Your connection's great. Yeah.
Well, greetings from Germany. It is 3:39 in the afternoon right now, so I've been getting used to the jet lag. Awesome. But guys, I just have to. I know you guys are all focused on. I know you're focused on field day there in the U.S., but I'll give you kind of the quick report here from Germany, from the Hamfest. Guys, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, can you see this hall here?
Wow. That's beautiful.
Wow.
It's absolutely beautiful. We just got done speaking with some of the club from Spain, with a club from Italy. The Germans have a huge booth here, and it's been jam-packed. So the theme this year is remote operating. And so we've seen a lot of different technology around remote operating. And we also, Jim, you'll be very excited to know, we just talked to a group that has been developing software for decoding satellites called SatDump. And the lead developer is from France. And it was just an incredible interview we'll be posting later. But what they've been able to do with decoding satellites has been awesome.
That's fantastic.
Terrific.
That's great. That's great. And I'm sure if they're focusing on remote operating, I'm sure all the big names like Flex and Elecraft are going to be there. And
yep, Elecraft is actually right over here. You might see a familiar face there. There's Eric from Elecraft. Hey, Eric.
Nice.
Hi, Eric.
I'm on a live right now. So, guys.
Hi, Eric.
We've got the U.S. represented well here. Eric's holding it down. Very good.
I'm over here with my Swiss distributor, Lutz.
Okay.
Showing off all the remote stuff. We were talking to people back. I was using my California remote, and he was using a Switzerland remote. We both talked to South Cook Island this morning at the same time at midnight, California. To figure that one out.
Wow.
So
And you guys can hear Eric, okay?
Yeah,
little
we
bit.
can hear him.
Okay, yeah, because I've got the head. Okay, that's good to know. And I think in our last video we actually covered when I saw you in the States, we covered some of your new remote technology.
Yeah.
So how's it been coming along?
Very well. The K4 Zeros, which is like a K4 front panel, the same exact front panel.
Yeah.
With all the I/O you would need for regular use on the radio, but you can join it remotely. It acts the same. So we're putting it in production with those now. So I have a pre-production unit with me and showing it to everybody.
That's awesome. Well, always great to see a familiar face. And sorry to interrupt, but we were glad we were able to get you on a live stream.
Well, you got me today after my jet lag is better, so I could actually make sense when I'm talking.
So, and where's the best place if for people that want to check out your remote operating, the new head unit, all of those things? Just the Elecraft website is a good place.
The Elecraft website, yeah, www.elecraft.com.
Elecraft.com, yeah, and
Okay.
look at United States representing here. Okay, good.
All right, talk to you later.
Nice.
How are the field day preparations going?
Well, they seem to be going well. I still haven't completely got a full field day plan put together yet, but I'm probably going to be doing a little shack operating and maybe visit my local club or go to a POTA or something like that. But band conditions are slightly off today, but they're in there. They're going to be enough, I think, for field day. So,
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to stay in the shack where it's cool and comfortable and hook the battery up to my main radio and operate as 1E this year, which is different for me. Usually I just go 1D, which is normal home station, short commercial power.
Yeah, so the normal home station commercial power is D, if I'm not mistaken, right? So
Yes, it is.
yeah. Well, I guess that's a kind of nice way to kind of take it one level up for the home operating is do the emergency power. So
yeah,
maybe a good thing. I think I was telling Jim previously, but I recently found out that my house has no ground. So I've always had bad noise in my house. I've never known why. So I've been operating my station just floating, basically off of battery power. And I decided that I wanted to install permanent VHF, 2 meter, 70 centimeter antenna. And as I was, going to install a ground that I needed to bond with my regular house ground, as it turns out, my house has no ground. So there was nothing to bond it to. So now I'm back to square one with trying to actually, before I can add a ground for my antenna, I have to figure out how to add an actual real ground. So we're going to see if this, I don't know if this is going to be a DIY. I don't know if this will actually be a DIY, gentlemen, or I might have to fork up a little bit of money to the electrician to get this done, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. There's some, I see some pounding of ground rods in your future.
Yeah, well, you gave me the perfect device for it, Jim.
I did. So for those who don't know, James and I live about 4 miles from each other, and
hey,
I loaned him my
just
ground
a
rod
second.
pounder.
Is that our good friend Pepe there?
This is
Hey,
Pepe,
Pepe.
and this was
Hey,
not
Pepe.
planned, guys.
No.
We're actually on a live right now.
I know.
This is so funny. Okay, so
Great to
if you're
see you,
in
Pepe.
anybody that's in anyone that's in World Radio League, if you're in the community, you already know who Pepe is because he's one of our biggest power users and best about the feedback. But we just had to sit down. We got to talk about a lot of the feedback things we're working on and just hang out a little bit. But Pepe, all right, look. We delivered Pepe his founding member pen.
Okay, have fun. Bye bye.
Great to see you,
Good to
Pepe.
see you.
Have fun in Germany. All right.
Check out this.
Sorry, Jim. Oh,
No, that's okay.
wow. What is that?
It's real-time spectrum monitoring. To be honest, I haven't totally figured it out, but basically, it's an extremely advanced devices for monitoring spectrum.
Isn't that a transparent monitor?
Yeah, it is.
Where am I seeing
So,
that?
no, you nailed it. Look at the other side.
Insane.
Wow. You know, I'm going to be building a new
I
shack
want
soon.
one.
I might have to add that.
Oh, Jim, new. I see a new shack in your future, huh?
Yes. Might have to get some new radios too.
So is Professor Jim officially going to Florida?
Yeah, it looks like we are. We're I am working on buying a house in Florida and making a relocation from Georgia to Florida. Everything's not finalized yet, but it's looking positive. So maybe I'll get to hang out with folks like POTA Power in the future, do some joint park activations or something.
Awesome.
So Jim, how do you think HF propagation will be from Florida versus Georgia? Because I imagine in Georgia you get you have more just natural elevation, right? But Florida you have the nice big ocean. I feel like you're a little bit, you have the Caribbean kind of, you're looking down maybe towards South America, maybe a little bit easier to get out over the.
So about 1,000 feet lower in altitude from there to here. Would be out of the city and out of the city noise, which I think will help with my noise floor. Speaking of Andy's, our little opening line about noise floor doesn't matter. So hopefully a little bit lower noise floor, and we'll get the chance to set up some different antennas and do some things differently. So I got some ideas, some different things I want to do. So looking forward to that. And you know what? We like to document the projects we do here at Ham Radio Prep and World Radio League. So I'll bet some of these at some point turn into videos that people can follow along with the progress.
And if you weren't here whenever we started the stream, what Professor Jim's referring to is our good friend Vince VE6LK recorded this nice little intro line for us that says that low noise floors are too overrated. That's our motto here at QRM.
There we go.
Who needs a low noise floor these days?
So it's funny. I was talking to some guys from France and Spain, and they were both talking about some of these Italians that they run so much power on VHF that they can hear them in Spain and Italy on the VHF bands, because these guys are running like, kilowatt plus on some of these.
On VHF. Oh, my lands.
Yeah. So yeah, what's up, Ray? I'm on a live stream right now.
Cool.
It was almost like I planned to run into you or something, but everybody, you guys know Ray from ICOM. So Ray, how's Germany?
Oh, it's been a blast.
Enjoying it?
A lot of people here. I get to hear about all the people that watch us on YouTube. So.
Well, it's nice to see you on the other side of the ocean for once.
Yeah. A little bit of jet lag, but other than that,
it's definitely weird getting used to the jet lag. But aren't these the facilities here are awesome?
Yeah, this is a incredible facility. A lot of interesting displays. I mean, the 490 megahertz spectrum scope over here.
Wow.
That it's
Insane.
downsides from the first time I saw it, but that is
James,
insane.
James, tell Ray that Julie from Proto Power says hi.
A lot of clubs here.
Andy, we got I got a message for you. Julie from Pota Power saying hi right now in the chat.
Okay. Hello there, Julie and Vaughn.
Dude, they did a good job representing you guys. What was it the last time we saw you at Dayton? I guess
Yeah,
it was.
seen you. It was a great time.
Yeah. When is the next time we're going to see you in the States?
Depends on where you guys are going. If you go to Huntsville, I'll be there at
We'll
Huntsville.
be at Huntsville. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you. We'll see you again at Huntsville. And yeah, that's funny. So this is the Ham Radio Prep and World Radio League live stream. Actually, it's we're doing a podcast now
QRM
called QRM. So I'm sure we got a lot of fans of yours.
Okay.
Say
So
hey to.
man-made noise, huh?
Yeah, exactly. You can you can thank. I think it was Jim.
He's
Did you
got it.
come up with that name?
Yeah, that was me. Man-made noise.
No,
He got it
is
exactly right.
Interesting because the DARC, the Deutschland Amateur Radio Club, has come up for new young hams 50ohm.de.
Oh, nice. 50ohm.de.
So you'll see the balloon
like that.
along the wall over there.
Okay. Well, I'll keep on walking that way. Ray,
Great to see you.
great to see you, man. Thanks for stopping me and saying hey.
All right, man.
This is pretty nuts. I guess you put a camera on and all the people start coming out of the woodworks.
Nice. That's awesome.
Here we've got the Clipperton Radio Club. And then here, of course, you've got IOTA, Islands on the Air.
Nice.
Nice.
I need to
And
learn
there
more
is the
about their
giant.
Something I've done, Islands on the Air, but
Giant.
haven't really. I've operated from Islands,
Yeah.
but I never really did it as like
Yeah.
an Islands on the Air activity. So I
Yeah.
had to think about that for future travel.
That
Yeah.
it's definitely it's a bougie ham radio activity for sure.
Depends on the island. I mean, back in
Are we
2016.
talking Bahamas or Snake Island?
Yeah, exactly.
So one of the things that they did, which was really cool, is they have an
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We just
We
lost
lost
you,
the
James.
boss.
Are you still with us?
I think we lost the boss.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll
Okay.
pull him out of the stage until he gets his camera back on, and then
Yep.
oh, he's fixing to come back on. Looks like. There we go. We got him.
Hello.
Hey, sorry about that. Well, this is one of the cool things that they have here, which is an innovation zone. And some of the
Yes.
things that I've seen there is this guy has built a digital repeater here, which is awesome. He's
Wow.
using a I think it's the Quangsheng for the transmit. He's got an icon for the receive, and then he has
Nice.
a Raspberry Pi. We've got a duplexer. Yeah. Here, let me get off these. I'm actually on a live stream right now. If you want to say hi. Hey, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So.
Yes, we hear
Okay.
you.
Well, we're gonna tell you a little bit about this.
Hi. So we have a repeater here for 70 centimeters using two handheld radios. One of them has a broken transmitter, but we use it for receive, so it's still good for that. And we have an MMPBM head that does the digital stuff that communicates with the Raspberry Pi. And Pi then communicates with the internet, so you have all your digital voice things like ground noise, WMR, and everything to talk to other people.
Yeah. And then have a nice web dashboard to go with it.
Yeah, that's WPSD.
Excellent.
That's really
Here, let
awesome.
me switch back to the headphones.
All right.
Well, I don't know how good my audio is here, but thank you very much. But the innovation zone is awesome, and then they have the satellites. Here on the other side.
Great. You're starting to become a little more inconsistent, James.
Yeah. Hold on just a second. I'm going to try something here. I I think we've got two of you in the studio, and I think it's trying to stream to both or something. Give me just a second. I don't want to lose you here, but there we go. That might have helped.
Well, this is the these are the satellite groups, SatDump, who have written an incredible satellite decoding software. That is very, very cool. We've got an interview with them that you guys will learn a lot more about satellite operations as well. But I think I'm going to let you guys get back to it. And I guess before I drop, is there anything else you guys want to see or any questions about the German Hamfest that I can get to while I'm here?
I don't believe so.
Why don't you tell everybody the big reason why you're there?
Well, actually, it's a really long story. Which reason were you referring to?
Is this WRTC related?
It is. Well, but I'll tell you actually. So there's a longer story than that, which I'll tell here. So, my wife's parents were actually going to go for a visa appointment in Portugal. And so I kind of had to make the trip for that. And so it was just one of those things where a lot of things kind of worked out. And yeah, WRTC 2026, where World Radio League, we're actually building the software with the IARU HF competition coming up July 12th and 13th. We're going to be running a quick POC on our Raspberry Pi software, which streams the broadcasted contacts from the Pi to the cloud. But WTC 2026, World Radio League, we're partnering with them to run all of their technology, live scoreboards, and all those things to really make a nice experience. So that is, that's probably, that's a big deal. But yeah, I'm glad I was able to give you guys the QRM, the first sneak peek into the German Hamfest.
Looks amazing.
Great to see you and great to see the Hamfest.
Great to see you guys, and stateside. Have a great field day. Chat soon.
73, James.
All
Be
right,
safe.
We'll see you. 73.
73, guys.
All right. Great to see James there. And for those of you who don't know, which I don't know how you wouldn't, but those of you who don't know, James is our CEO. So
yes.
Of Ham Radio Prep and World Radio League. So great to see him there.
So Andy, if I can make a suggestion, I start a few of the comments so I can run a speed round through the comments, and then let's dive into some of the basics that people are going to want to know for field day. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'll kind of keep an eye on the comments while you're maybe doing a run through of some of the stuff you've got. Then we can bring up World Radio League after that. And yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. All right. So comments. Woods and Bikes was asked. I was mentioning that I'm probably going to operate as Class E, and in just a minute we'll get into all the different classes that you can operate as. But he was saying that Class E is home on alternate power, so that's great. He also asked, are 12 meters and 17 meters excluded for field day? And I posted this in the chat, but the important things to know is it's 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, 10, and VHF. Right here. Yep, there we go. Perfect. So those are the bands. So no 60 meters, no 30, 12, and 17.
Okay. All right.
Andy, this may be one for you. Jethro asked, tried to log 2 operators on one park yesterday and used commas to separate it, but wouldn't work. How does he do that? Or is that something?
We don't have comma separation multi-op yet. That's something we're actively working on. We weren't sure if we wanted to go down the comma separation route. We actually had some ideas for potentially a better solution, so we're going to be implementing that multi-op. But in fact, we were kind of discussing that this week of kind of maybe bumping priority on that. But yeah, it should be coming soon, but we don't have it just yet.
Awesome. We got N2FET jumping in. He's a big Ham Radio Prep and World Radio League fan.
Hey,
we got at least one field day using it as their logbook. That's great.
Awesome.
Actually, I've seen 600 or 700 people sign up so far. And why don't you explain how we'll come back to that. We're going to go through all the World Radio League stuff and show you some stuff in a few minutes. But
absolutely,
thank you to the Milton Amateur Radio Club for using that. Amando mentioned that he uses World Radio League and then exports his log. That's great. We appreciate that. Woods and Bikes commented on my move, and it's going to be a huge undertaking. Yeah, I got 12 years worth of shack to undo. So it's going to take me a bit, but I am excited by the opportunity to totally create something new from the ground up. Nice. So thanks, Woods and Bikes. Kootenai is going to be K7ID. We'll be using WRL. Thank you for that. We appreciate that, Jay. And then Walt asks about cat control. And Andy, you may have some thoughts there.
Yeah. So we're actually in the process of working through adding virtual COM ports, which will work with softwares like COM0Com for Win for Yaesu, that type of thing. And then we're going to also be working with we're working with Flex with some Flex radios, get cat control working with that as well. And then we're going to integrate it into our desktop app, which is coming here in the coming weeks. So our current
great news.
We're trying to get some fixes pushed to the current app to make it work with some, a wider range of radios, some of these ones that have virtual ports. But then the final version, the end goal will be to push it with the desktop app.
That's great. Looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to make a little bit of a transition here. One of the things we wanted to do with this podcast and Be Live is take your questions specifically about field day, because especially for people who have not done field day before, and we have a lot of new people at Ham Radio Prep, that's what we do. We bring on new hams. So this may be first field day for some, and it may be a little overwhelming. So what I wanted to do was just kind of go through some of the basics of field day so folks can understand what's going on here. So when you go out or get set up and start operating on field day, instead of the normal, well, I'm 5'9", Andy, you're 5'9", great signal, thanks for copying. Yeah. You're going to have a special exchange. And this is so you can keep track of who you talk to and confirm back and forth who is, which group you're talking to. So you're going to hear something like, hey, this is N4BFR. I am 1 Echo in Georgia. Or in this example, I'm 3A in North Texas. And all those different things mean something. So the 3 is the number of active stations that you have. And this excludes any VHF stations or any, they call them get on the air stations that are specifically set up to help new hams and people who aren't in ham radio kind of get some experience with it. So 3 is your basic number of active stations doing contacts at any one time. Now, a question that I've seen quite often is, well, if Andy and Jim and James are there operating and each has a station that's 3, well, what if Surafel comes in and wants to operate as an additional station? Well, if Andy's station goes off the air and Surafel's station comes on, you remain a 3. And you don't really want to change that once you get going in field day. So 3 active stations at any one time is the way to kind of think of that number. So what's the most active stations you're going to have at any one time? And I've heard on the air where people are like 12 alpha, and that would mean they've got 4 stations doing phone and 4 stations doing CW and 4 stations doing digital. Quite
but you
unusual.
Don't have to constantly have that many going at a time.
You do not. So nice. So you've got some options there. Class, I'll get into the class, and that's the different options here. And then location. Location is pretty much the section you are in the U.S. So NTX is North Texas. You might be in Alberta, Canada, and have a different section, or Ontario North, ONN those kind of things. So there'll be 85 different sections. Sometimes I find it's handy, especially with new hams, you print that out and have it as something next to the radio.
Yeah.
So you recognize those things and can manage to those as you go on, right?
Yeah, that list of classes. Now, we'll get into this in World Radio League. Though we actually give you a quick drop down. So if you like enter the first character of a section, it'll like pop up the available sections for you there. So
perfect. And what you want to do is when you're setting up, you want to know what your section is. So if you're in Georgia, it's GA. If you're in Minnesota, is it MIN, MN?
I think Minnesota's MN. Missouri is MO, of course.
MO. Sorry. You're in Missouri, not
Missouri.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
See, they're all Midwest somewhere. All right. Let me just
flyover country.
There you go. So that middle letter, that alpha, it can be one of 6 different letters depending on how you have your station set up. If you're going out to operate with a club, they're going to set up as an A station or a B station. This is anytime you've got a couple of people together doing portable and operating that way. If you're in your truck or your car and you're just going to drive around all day and make contacts, you're going to be a C station that'll be mobile. If you're operating from your normal home shack on normal commercial power, you're a D. If, as I mentioned, you're running your radio from a battery at your home station, or a generator or solar panels, you're then be an E. And by the way, I looked at the rules this morning. To be an E station, you only have to run your transmitter and receiver, is how it's worded, on alternate power. So you can use regular home power for your logging and those kind of things. And then F is an emergency operations center. So if you're working with Georgia Auxcom and you're at the Georgia Auxcom Center and operating there, you'd be a class F. Make sense, Andy? Am I missing any?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That looks great. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you for running through that. That's very, very helpful for sure.
Sure. You bet.
Pardon me. Yeah.
So thinking about points, because field day's not a contest, but people still do keep track of points. I know there's 2 clubs here in Metro Atlanta, pretty large size clubs, the Gwinnett Club and the North Fulton Club, and they always compete against each other for points, and most points buys the other club an ice cream social. So
that's hilarious.
That's a lot of fun. But if you're just making voice contacts, you get 1 point. CW and digital count as 2. And then there's multipliers if you're running only 5 watts or 100 watts. And I'm not going to get into all the minute details on that, but you get bonus points for that. One thing that doesn't count for points is repeater contacts. So except if you're making them via satellite. So this gives you the opportunity to go out, make a satellite pass contact, and have some fun with that. Now, it's also AMSAT field day. So if you want to enter another field day, they have separate rules. They said there's 10 repeaters and transponders ready to go to make contacts during field day. So that could be fun. There's also a satellite bonus. So the way that satellite bonus is worded is you have to make a contact between 2 ground stations. So Eris has said that some of the ISS crew members might actually be active on their repeater during field day. So a fun chance to make a contact with an astronaut, but it only counts for a contact point. It does not count for the satellite bonus because it's not a ground to ground contact.
Oh, come on. They ought to make the astronauts worth like triple points or something.
You'd think they would, but that's the rules.
All right.
Those are the rules. All right. Let's see. So bonus points. And Andy's going to show the World Radio League logger in a minute, but all the bonus points you can possibly get, and those are things like having a public official come to your site, having a PR table, those kind of things. They're all listed in the World Radio League logger, so you can just go in and check those off and see explanations. And then I think I'll save this last slide for a few minutes after you've gone through the logger to show kind of how you're going to submit your log at the end of the day. So I'll pull that down for now.
Go ahead and pull the logger up here.
All right. I'll let you pull the logger up and do that voodoo that you do.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So if you've already got an account, of course, you'll pull this page up right here. This is your home page. And in order to enroll in the contest, just go down here to the contest tab and click join for free on field day. You can see I'm already enrolled, so I don't need to do that. But if you haven't joined yet, just click join for free. And then I'm going to drop this link right here in the chat. app.worldradioleague.com/contest is how you get directly to the contest page. So then once you've enrolled there, you just open that logbook up. And we've added some really exciting stuff this year. So I'm going to be showing you that. Looks like we've already got 645 people and clubs already signed up to use World Radio League. So this is a combination of people and clubs here. So then we've got all the rules, all the if you don't like Professor Jim's fantastic explanation there, you can go and skip his TLDR and go read through all this. But I would recommend just listening to Professor Jim explain it, because it's a whole lot simpler to understand. So then we've got, of course, the countdown timer here. This will switch to a countdown to contest end after the contest starts. But as you can see, we've got 3 hours, 47 minutes to go until the contest starts. So, and once again, we appreciate everybody. What's that?
Plenty of time to get ready.
Absolutely. We do appreciate everybody taking time out of your field day morning to come join us. So if you go here, I'm just going to kind of go through these tabs one at a time. The leaderboard, this will start populating. Of course, there's everybody's got 0 points, 0 QSOs. This will all start populating as soon as you start logging contacts during the field day time slot. Then this will all start populating, and people will start jumping to the top of the leaderboard and fighting for first place and all that good stuff. The statistics page, this is going to be really cool. So watch this page after the contest starts, because this shows a breakdown of all the contacts made during field day in World Radio League by band, by mode, over this is one of my favorites, this QSOs by hour. You can literally see this curve of, the peak time of when the most QSOs were made, and then it drops down like during the night when there aren't nearly as many. It's a really cool curve. So watch that. Then we've got our map here. This is our active stations. People who've enrolled in the contest. Look at this. We've got people all over the world basically using this thing. Of course, the U.S. is packed much more densely than anywhere else. The U.S., Canada. But we have stations in South America, in New Zealand, Australia, Fiji. Nice. Yeah. So absolutely go look at that if you and this is also a good, if you find one of these pins that's close to you, you can click on it, see who's there, and if it looks to be a club, then you can maybe see if you can look that club up and see if they've posted anything where they're going to be. That way, if you want to go join them, it might be a good way to do that. So this is the latest contacts during field day. This will all, of course, start populating with field day contact info once that starts. And then, of course, we already saw our rules page here. And then here's where things get exciting, is right here in your logbook page. So, of course, right now we're outside the contest window, but as you start logging, before you start logging, you're going to want to add your exchange right here. Jim was talking about how it's always nice to have your exchange in front of you. while you're operating, you can add it right here. So if I'm going to be operating by myself at home, see, you can this class list here shows exactly what Jim was explaining. At home, so let's see here, home station commercial power. And of course, my section is Missouri, so Mike Oscar. I can save that, and then I've got it listed here, 1 Delta Mike Oscar, right in front of me. So as I'm hollering out on the radio, if I forget my class and section and all that good stuff, I can just look right here in front of me. It's sitting right there, and this also affects your contacts on the leaderboard. So be sure and add that, because that way, if people filter the leaderboard by class, then your contacts will appear on that leaderboard based off of class as well. So be sure and add that. Then we've got, of course, if you enter a class here, so say I go 1, and I use a number that's or a letter that's incorrect, it'll flag that, won't let me use that. So that's a good way to tell. If you
that's
are,
nice. That's an enhancement since
exactly.
That's an enhancement since I tested earlier this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've got here in section, as I was saying earlier, you can drop an N in there and it'll flag it red because that's not your final value. But you can scroll down here. It pops up this whole list. So if I go North Texas, there it goes, pops it up right there. You don't have to click on it. You can just enter it, NTX, and tab over, and it pulls it up. But it's just kind of a nice pop down list here. This flag here is just for, you want to make sure you're entering your frequency in megahertz. So if you enter your frequency in megahertz and it's it's part of the band plan, it'll auto populate the band and mode. But if you enter it in, like, say, kilohertz, then it's going to flag it and say, hey, that's outside of the conventional band plan. Make sure it's in megahertz and that the band and mode are correct. That way, if you want to log in kilohertz, you're going to have to manually change your band and mode and set it however you want. Because see, if I change this to 7255, see, it's still going to give me that flag, and it didn't change the band like it's supposed to. But if I put a dot in there, it's going to automatically change that, pull that up for you. So just keep that in mind. If you want to log in kilohertz, you're going to have to manually change band and mode. We recommend logging in megahertz. It's just going to make it a whole lot easier for you. So if you're making a satellite contact, we've got a nice little trigger here for you, just to tag that as a satellite contact. That kind of goes against your bonus over here, I believe. You can double check that bonus, make sure it added that for you if you log a satellite contact. If not, you can just manually click it here. And then
I really like that bonuses spot where you can go.
We'll hit that in just a second. We'll cover that in detail.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Oh, no.
I'm excited.
You're great. You're great. We'll definitely cover that here in just a second. Now, if you've got a club, and you want to set up your account under your club call sign, then you're going to go over here, and each operator can enter their operator call sign here from their device. So if everybody's got their own computer, you can just populate it with the operator call sign. Or if you switch between operators on the same computer, you can just pull this up and edit that call sign. Then when you save it, any contacts logged from that point forward are going to be under the new call sign. Now, they're going to log under the club call sign, but they're going to attach the operator call sign and give you your own internal leaderboard. See if we can see this here. Right here. Yeah, contacts by operator. This is going to be based off of your internal club system. So you're going to have, you're going to have all of your club. If we had several contacts logged here, it'd be easier to show you. But you're going to have all of your operators listed here, and you're going to be able to see how many contacts each of those operators have logged. But they're all going to log under the club account call sign. So,
Andy, I've got a logbook that's got some dummy contacts in it. I can pop it up if you want me to show.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do that in just a second. If you want to go ahead and load that into the StreamYard there, then I'll pull it up here in just a second. Yeah. But also on this page, you're going to be able to see, who's leading, who's ranking highest, how many contacts have been logged, You'll be able to see, of course, the map we looked at earlier. Or actually, I'm sorry, this is the contact map, I believe. And then,
Whoops.
No, you're good. There you go. There's what Jim's talking about. Right there.
Yeah, it took over accidentally when I was trying to cue it up.
No, you're good. You're good. That's the contact by operator there, and
yep, we got contacts by operator, and it also shows you, the bands, the bonuses. This you got sections worked.
Yeah,
and this is all just dummy log data.
And if you don't put an operator in there, then it's just gonna use your club call sign as the operator call sign. So don't worry about it if you don't want to use that. It's just a nice way to keep your contact straight across your club. So this is logged in the cloud, so you guys can literally log in from any all your devices. All of you can log in at the same time and log into the same logbook. So go ahead, Jim.
Andy, I really like this band mode QSO breakdown because it's important when field day is over.
Yeah.
So once you're done with field day and everybody's gone home and everybody's eaten the hot dogs and picked up and those kind of things, somebody, and this was my experience in past field days, I get handed a bunch of written logs. And here you go, Jim, do our field day submission. And I then had to sort out, wait, is this a 40 meter contact? And read, try and read everybody's chicken scratch and sort all out the power and those kind of things. This makes it so much easier because when you submit at the ARL site, you're going to get asked all this data. So the fact that it's already there for you and you can just go bing, bang, boom and transcribe it in makes it a million times easier as trying to submit a log.
Absolutely. That's fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. You want the con back?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and bring this one back up here. So we were covering bonuses. So if you want to look at through all the bonuses we have, we've got all of these bonuses listed here. 100% emergency power, media publicity, public location, public information table. All these you can look down through them here, and you can either check them or give a count here of how many of these bonuses you can apply to your station. So yeah, go check that out. It's just really cool when you get in here and start working. We've got a lot of great. You can even add a POTA to your field day log if you want to. It's just really, really awesome what our guys Brad and Surafel, they really killed it. And then of course you've got export in ADIF or Cabrillo, either one. And yeah, you can go in here and change all this, set your power level in here within the logbook settings. So what did I miss, Jim? Did I miss anything here?
I don't think you missed anything. I think if you give me a second, we'll talk more about what happens after.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
So you've gone out, you've spent 24 hours operating, had a great time at field day. Now it's your responsibility to get all this stuff together, whether because you're operating on your own or you are the one who got voluntold from your club to submit your log entries. So you're going to go to this link that we've got, this field day site at the ARRL, and enter all that information. And it's a couple of step process where you go through and you identify yourself and you talk about your bonuses. But then there's a section where you have to enter your QSOs, and you're going to do it two ways. First of all, you have to have your Cabrillo file. So using World Radio League, you can just export that Cabrillo file and you'll have it handy. Then when you go to this statistics page that we were showing you a few minutes ago, you will have all the information you need to fill out that form on the field day site. And like I said, it makes it super simple to be able to go through and make sure you get credit for all your QSOs. And that's in the World Radio League log. Once you're in your log, click on that scoring breakdown button right below on your main page, and then click statistics. And as you scroll down, you'll see all this information. So that's the info you need to go to the ARL site, fill that out, and make sure you get credit. Now, one of the questions we got, I think, is a good thing to bring in here is how many people are submitting logs? Is this, how big of a deal is this? Well, I went and did some research here while Andy was talking. Last year, 2024 field day, 1.3 million contacts were made during field day.
That's crazy.
All 85 sections were represented and 27 DX countries. 31,000 participants with a total of 4,319 stations submitting. And those are just the ones that submitted. So not everybody is diligent and fills out a log and submits their log. But 4,300 stations. So I would expect something very similar to be on the air this weekend.
4,300 stations.
Yep.
It's interesting. Yep. Yeah. I was keeping an eye here on our page here, seeing how many stations have signed up. And if 4,300 stations are submitting, we actually have a pretty high percentage for this being the first year we've really hammered on field day. We've actually got a pretty high percentage right now. We got 650 stations and clubs signed up. So that's a pretty good percentage, actually.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it's pretty easy to get signed up. You're going to go to worldradioleague.com. You can, if you don't have an account and you're watching us, you can quickly set up an account. It's free. So we're not trying to sell you anything. You won't have to pay to export your logs or anything like that. You just go in, you sign up, you start using it. So it's pretty straightforward there.
Like Jim said, everything you need for logging, everything in field day is totally free. You just sign up, start logging, do your export. All that's free. Don't worry about having to pay for anything. If if you guys are using that for field day, any of those basic functions are going to be completely free.
Something behind me just told me my battery is currently low. I have no idea. I have never heard this voice or sound before in my shack. So I may go off the air in a second because something craps out, but I don't think so. That's the weirdest thing. All right.
You got, you might want to be nervous if you got voices telling you your battery's low.
Exactly. All right. We've got time for more questions. We can talk more about field day plans. Andy, do you have a favorite field day experience that you've from what you've participated in?
Well, I've been a ham since 23 and a general since 24. So I really don't have hardly any experience in field day. I think I've done some like field day operating from home during one of those years during 24. But other than that, I have basically no field day experience. So,
okay.
How about you?
I don't want to say I've done it all, but I've done a bunch of different stuff. My very first, so being in Metro Atlanta, there are a bunch of clubs, right? And within like an hour's drive, I can go to 5 or 6 different field day sites. Nice. And the first year I was a ham, that was pretty much what I did. I went and visited 4 different field day sites. Wow. And what was so interesting to me was how everybody does it a little bit differently. So Atlanta Radio Club set up in a park. They're always about very casual operating. So let's just get people on. We'll have a few stations. All right, we'll switch the station to CW, or this person's here and they like to do digital, so we'll do a little digital. It very just kind of we'll just bop along and do our thing. I'd go to the Stone Mountain Club, the Alpha Memorial Radio Club. They're set up in a facility. They've got their computers networked. They are, little more formal, but they're big on the family experience. So everybody stops for dinner to operate. Switching up to going to the North Fulton Club. This was one of the clubs I mentioned earlier that really likes to be competitive and views field day as much as a contest as anything else. And they had tents set up and they were assigned by banded mode. So this tent did 20 and 40 meter sideband, and you go down to this guy in his van, in his camper, and that's where you do CW and those kind of things. So it was very fascinating to watch how I'll say how regimented they were about really being official field day. And then went to a completely different club, and they basically set up an antenna and ran a cable into a classroom, and they were all hanging out and taking turns operating, and just one station and one operation. But I think that makes a great example of field day can be whatever you want it to be. If you want to go out and meet a bunch of hams and get on the air, you can. And I would say, I've been talking to a new ham who took the course and then happened to show up at one of the VE sessions. So I've been coaching them a little bit, and I'm like, go out to, and they're very nervous about getting on the air the first time. But to me, field day is the perfect time to get on the air the first time, because you have this whole support group there ready to do exactly that, help new hams get on the air. So if you are somebody who's gotten their license and you haven't made it out or haven't just clicked the push to talk or done CW or seen how digital works, getting out to a field day site is super is a super opportunity for you to get active in ham radio. And I hope that if there's folks watching us who haven't been there, I see Bug Blue is saying first field day since getting general this year. So I'm glad.
Bug said thanks ham radio prep. So Professor Jim, he was listening to you.
so Bug BQ, I called you Bug Blue, but I think it's Bug BQ. I want to hear how you did after you got on the air. So drop me a note, Jim at hamradioprep.com, and just let me know how you did on your field day. Bill Ford's first field day too. That's awesome. And Bill, glad to hear that. So take the chance to do field day, take the chance to do different things with field day. So one of those field day events I did, I decided I was just going to 10 meters. That was going to be my total focus. I was just going to spend all the time I could and be the 10-meter expert that year. So I did that. Other years, it was about enabling other people and helping with the cookout. So, you're going to, as you go on and do stuff with clubs and those kind of things, you'll take on different roles, but don't be afraid. Field day is the weekend to ask questions, the weekend to get experience, the weekend to try new things. So please don't hesitate to ask.
Some people act like it's the most serious event in ham radio, but at the same time, they have all these get on the air stations and everything. I mean, guys, really, it's actually the weekend to learn about ham radio. If you want to, just go find your local club and talk to them, and I'm sure they'll most of them will be really nice.
Andy showed how you can see some field day sites in the World Radio League logger. If you search ARRL field day locator, you'll find a bunch more too. So that's one of some of the experiences that I enjoyed last year. Talking about field day experience last year, James and I were doing field day together. So we went out to a park and we did a pre-field day activation, and we were trying out World Radio League logger and just doing some QRP stuff, and got on the air. And then we went over to the Atlanta Radio Club venue, and we hung out with there for a while. If you've been around for a while, you've probably seen pictures of that. And then we went over to the Alfred Memorial Radio Club, and got to see them in action, and they treated us to their dinner, and that was really nice. It's a really hot day to be outside in Atlanta on field day. It always ends up being, I'm sure the weather is perfect in Connecticut, but it's 94 and humid in Atlanta, so it's always a challenge on field day to be outside for a long time. But I think people do it to their skill.
Absolutely.
It's only going to be 86 today, so why not just totally be outside the whole time here?
I'm sure what Missouri's going to look like. Let me look at it.
So maybe that means instead of operating from my shack, if it is comfortable, I might set up on my back deck and make some contact that way and get at least be outside in fresh air. So we'll see.
Yeah. Nice.
We'll see.
Actually, looks like it's going to be, I was just trying to pull it up here. Oh boy. It's a high of 83, but potential of scattered thunderstorms. So we might get some field day stations lightninged out before it's over with.
That's always a chance. We've run into that before too. So, I mean, here in Metro Atlanta, it's definitely always a chance. But the other thing that you were mentioning a little bit ago is combining this with the parks on the air activation. So, if it's a state or a federal park that you're operating from, you can count it as a POTA activation. And the nice thing about POTA is you don't need to call CQ POTA to do a POTA activation. You log it, you put it in, you submit your log later. So they're good about that. Now you might want to say, hey, CQ field day, this is N4BFR from US 3378, which is, I think that's Blue Ridge Parkway. And combine the two so people are aware and you can get park to parks, but don't feel like you can't submit your log as a POTA log if you're in a POTA park this weekend as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I know they're kind of strict on the like the opera, all your equipment has to be within the whatever radius of. But, if you want to go and do something with your club for a few hours, and then you want to go do a POTA by yourself for a few hours, you're operating two different call sites. You're operating under your club, then you're operating personally. So, I think, that's
100% yes, with one small asterisk is if you operate a club station, you can't work a club station. So if I go to the Atlanta Radio Club and I spend time as W4 DOC, I can't come home and work that station.
Really?
Yes. That's an exclusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I mean, 4,100 other stations out there that you can work. It shouldn't be a big problem. But yeah, that's the rule.
And honestly, I mean, you're not gonna. It's gonna be if you're doing it during the day and you're doing long range propagation, that's not gonna be too big of an issue unless you drive 12 hours home from working with a club. You're not gonna be that close to contacting them anyway. So unless you're on
exactly. Once per band is per mode. So Andy, I could work you on 80, 40, 20 voice phone and then turn around and work you 80, 40, 20 CW, and those would all count. But just once per band.
Nice. Yeah. Is it once per band or once per band mode combination?
Once per band mode combination.
Okay. All right, sounds good. We've got somebody in here testing for a technician in 2 weeks. Let us know how that goes. That's fantastic.
Yeah. APD, good. A good go out and find your local field day club and tell them.
If they get on the air station.
Yes,
they'll let you get on the air. Yeah,
they will absolutely let you get on the air and see what it's like. So if not, you can watch and see how it all comes together. Bill Ford too. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Bill Ford, only active ham in my county. 1 Bravo, Mike Sierra. So 1B in Mississippi, and we'll look for you on 20 meters. Somebody, I posted that we were doing this live, and in one of the the groups, World Radio League or Ham Radio Prep success groups. And somebody from World Radio League went in behind me and said, "See how many times you can work Professor Jim this weekend." I don't know if I'm actually going to be calling CQ this weekend. When I operate, I like to chase a lot. So I enjoy the going up and down the dial and seeing how many people I can hear and those kind of things. I hope, I may call CQ as well, but don't feel bad if you don't get me, because I'm going to be more focused on hunting than I am on calling CQ.
Absolutely.
Shelly Kelly, and wishing APD good luck. And you did tech and general, N7NOR. Shelly, that's great. Let us know in the comments if you're going to be getting out and doing field day too. We'd love to hear where you're planning to operate. Is there anybody who's planning to operate from a really unique location? If you share that in the comments too, I'd be interested to hear that. I see David Hartwell is going to be operating in North Louisiana. So we've got a lot of the East Coast represented, although Shelly Kelly had a 7 call. So that's going to be out west. Shelly's going to be Tucson area. So that'd be great. Shelly, you're in the Tucson area. You know, it'd be fun this is all right. I'm going to totally nerd out for a second,
You're good.
Andy. Like I don't normally, but this may be way nerdier. About 20 miles south of Tucson is a facility that you can tour that used to be a missile launch silo. So you go out, you see the missile, you get to go down and turn the little brass key. And I think they actually use that to shoot the beginning of war games. I think they actually shot it there. So you get to go and sit in a chair where you turn the key and do those kind of things. At that facility, and I'll look up the name in a second, but at that facility, they have a giant disc cone antenna. And if you go to the office and say, "Hey, I'm a ham, I want to operate from your facility and use your disc cone antenna," they'll give you the keys to unlock the feed line to go in and do that. So
awesome.
that is a really cool place to go. You know, I've been there twice. I've seen the disc cone, but I've never had time. Titan Missile Site. Thank you, Shelly. But I've never operated from there. I've had my radio and I didn't operate, and I kind of kicking myself for missing out on that. But it was part of a 6,500 mile road trip I did. So sometimes you can't stay as long as you want to do those things. But yeah, Titan Missile Silo south of Tucson. I'd be very interested to see if anybody's activating that this weekend. That would be a fun field day site for me.
That would be.
But ships, planes, I don't know that I've heard anybody. I've heard like museum ships on the air from field day. I've heard planes. So something else for field day too to think about is if you are an award chaser. So if you want to try and get worked all states, this is a great contest for that. This is a great weekend for that. So watch the spotting networks. For me, I know that I need, what was I looking? I need Tennessee on 20 meters to get my worked all states phone 20 meters. So I'm going to be watching to see if anybody's on from Tennessee this weekend and try and check that box off as well. Nice. So sometimes there's, you can have ulterior motives while you're doing field day.
Hoda or Soda or whatever. So does the ARRL offer any awards for field day? Do they do anything like that, or do they?
They every year after everybody submitted their logs, they will publish kind of best for each, most points for each thing. They'll publish it in their magazine. So you can see how I kind of look at it as I want to see how I measured up against similar stations. So I'll look at it against the 1Ds. I know that, I'm not a 12A, right? I'm not all the stations all the time. Like,
but they have each breakdown there though.
Yeah, they have them broken down in a lot of different ways, and you can go in and figure out your third in Montana or fifth in Georgia or however that works
one
out.
time, it was like right after I got my general. Shortly thereafter, I participated in the what was it, the Florida QSO party, and months and in fact, I think it was this year, months and months and months later, in the mail, all of a sudden I got like a top youth score award from the Florida QSO party.
Nice.
I'm like, I wasn't even trying. I didn't expect that. But yeah, that was kind of fun. But
yeah. So we got just a couple of minutes left. If folks have questions or thoughts about field day, please throw them in the log or throw them in the comments, and we will try and get to them.
You can tell Professor Jim's already got field day on the brain because he just said to throw your comments in the log. So
yeah, in the log, in the log. Sometimes you just get going.
No, I get it. I've certainly said much worse than that.
Absolutely. While we wait for questions, Andy, where can we find you online?
Where you can find me online? You can find me. You can go to the World Radio League Discord. In fact, I'll drop a link to that in here, an invite link. But yeah, we just launched our Discord, so join us there. You can find me in the community, the World Radio League community. Just tag at N0APX there. Personally, or actually, you can also email me, Andy at worldradioleague.com. Personally, you can email me, Andy at N0APX.com. You can go to my website, N0APX.com. And I've also got a YouTube channel, Andy N0APX. So, yeah, you can find me all over the place. Just look up N0APX and you're bound to find me somewhere.
Cool. I've got N4BFR.com. So it makes it easy for people to find me there. I have my personal YouTube, N4BFR Vision, where I post things about road trips or things I'm building or those kind of things. So haven't posted there for a while, but I hope to soon. And like I said, as I'm building new things with a move or whatever, that'll be a good time to share some stuff as well. And then hamradioprep.com is the place to go for our courses. And get the Woods and Bikes is saying he's going to QRT from the chat. KB3KGA, thank you so much for joining us today. And hope to get you in the log too this weekend. So thank you for coming along with us today and joining in. Hamradioprep.com, worldradioleague.com. I think those are the big options. Looking at the map, I clicked on myself, W400, and it showed the name and member number for both of us. And I'm not sure I understand this one, Andy.
The same member number for both of us. He's got the same member number. Looking at the map. Okay, let me look at that real quick. What is that? Is that Chuck? Is that your member number? Is that the right member number for you? What's yours, Jim? What's your member number?
2.
Okay.
2.
Okay. So then that must be Chuck's member number. Just looking here. So if I click on one, there. Oh, are you in the Find Members Near Me map? Maybe. Finding member number there.
Yep. I see 1272 for Chuck when I look him up by himself.
Okay. So I'm assuming I'm not having that issue on my end. I don't know. That's really weird. I would maybe refresh the page and look at Jim's again.
Chuck, it might be helpful to tell us if are you using the web or are you using app? Just so we know the right place to look at that. See, these are the kind of fun things you get when you go live.
Absolutely.
You learn.
Well, you know the rule. Murphy's Law applies doubly when you go live. So anything that can go wrong will go wrong when you're live. So yeah,
I believe that. And I'm hoping to extend my streak to 2 days. I made one contact yesterday in my World Radio League log. So
yeah, we didn't look at that, but those streaks, that's a lot of fun.
yeah. I've been having fun watching people do their streaks. I'm a very spotty HF operator. Like I'll go weeks without doing anything, and then I'll get on and make a couple hundred contacts.
Yeah.
I know I've got some this weekend, and then right after this, starting Tuesday, is going to be one of my favorite events, the 13 Colonies event.
Nice.
So if you've never worked that, the idea is there's 13 special event stations, one each in the original 13 colonies. So you go and try and get K2G for Georgia and see if you can get a clean sweep there. And then there's a couple of bonus sites too, one in Philadelphia and then a couple in overseas. And that contest runs 8 days. So the July 1st to the 8th. And my operating tip for that would be try after the 4th. I found that there's a lot of people trying to get the 13 colony stations on the 4th or before.
Oh, nice.
But and it's a lot easier to get in and work those stations after the 4th, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So for folks trying to do 13 colonies, that would be my recommendation.
Nice. All right.
All right, Andy, I think we're out of time, out of steam, and out of questions.
About then, so
yeah,
let's go ahead and put a wrap on it. Thank you everybody so much, so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we hope to catch y'all in the next episode of the QRM podcast. You can go to the World Radio League YouTube channel and subscribe to that podcast. You can subscribe using Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube Music. I believe we're in all those locations now, so feel free to any of those locations. This episode is a live stream, so we'll be probably post processing this and uploading it later. So keep an eye out for that. 7-3, everybody. We appreciate everybody who came in, joined us today. Have a great field day. Have fun out there. And Independence Day is coming, so we'll say Happy Independence Day to you as well. 7-3, everybody.
Absolutely. Hope to get you in the log. 73.
Oh, there we go. 7-3, everybody.